Eons ago, in the lands that no longer exist, there was a great and proud kingdom. Its great white walls and tall towers stood as proof of its former success and prosperity. But it was merely a mask, for no living creature resided beyond that masonry. The leader of this great kingdom was a young and ambitious princess called Jaina. Along with her most trusted servant and warrior, Bane, she promised herself and to the people that she will bring an end to the grim, dark days. Ever since she was but a girl, Jaina showed a rather unique talent and passion for magic. Her skills were amazing and advanced unnaturally fast for her age. However, her father and the people of his court were not approving of her hobby. After a formal declaration that all those who practice magic will be tortured and exiled, Jaina had no choice but to improve her skills in the secret and ancient dungeons below the city. Accompanied by her personal servant and close friend Bane, she was able to practice whenever she wanted to. Bane was skeptic, but happy that he could help out his princess in any way he could. The humble servant knew that he would even give away his own life for her, if fate would demand it. At the same time, corruption was overwhelming the royal court. People were starving, children dying, buildings were falling apart, and for what? The nation was cursed by having a liege who only cared for himself and completely disregarded his followers. As years passed, Jaina and Bane were also affected by this great sorrow. Jaina knew that she was the only person that could make a difference once she'd get crowned as queen. And to help her kingdom strive, she had to become an even better sorceress. One day, Jaina asked Bane to explore the deeper parts of the dungeons. As he was walking through the long dungeon halls, many doors were present to him. But at the end of the hall, there was one black door marked with blood. As Bane approached it, the air got colder and the sudden feeling of lifelessness sent shivers down his spine. He reported back to his princess, and she instantly realized that nothing good could be behind that door. And Bane made her promise that she would never open it. Jaina also knew that Bane couldn't understand the burden on her shoulders. She was destined to become the queen of this land one day, and to be ready for it, she had to be strong and powerful. One night, she sneaked into the dungeons alone, and stood in front of the black gate. The power emitting from the doorway was so great that even she started questioning her acts. But Jaina knew that this had to be done, and a moment later, the black door stood open. The things that happened in those chambers were so terrible that they kept the sun from shining over the land for days. The demons within the chamber promised Jaina great power at the cost of her soul. But even after this dark pact, Jaina looked normal to the common eye. In the meantime, the sick king died. The lack of sunlight made the weather too cold for his old, frail body to handle. Jaina was crowned queen and promised her people that the days of misery were over. That very moment, the sun's rays pierced the sky and showered the land with their warmth once more. However, Bane knew that there was something different about his princess, but was too scared to confront her and honestly didn't think it mattered. He had made Jaina a promise to be beside her through the good and the bad alike. Once Jaina took over the kingdom, they started slowly separating from one another. She was rarely seeing Bane and was evading his stare as she felt that he knew of her sin. But the queen had no time to think about it. Jaina was there to help her struggling people, whatever the cost. And she did just that. During her reign, the kingdom flourished and grew across the whole continent. The nation prospered like never before. But then, something terrible happened. As the dark magic consumed Jaina more and more, she ordered the first hostile action against the neighboring kingdom. Year after year, many kingdoms fell to the power of Jaina and Bane, her servant. The dark magic was now consuming the whole nation, channeling through Jaina. The whole kingdom went insane from insomnia and nightmares that were corrupting the lands. The darkness was so powerful that it even altered the appearance of the people. Bane had no more doubts about the terrible act Jaina had committed by opening the doors deep within the castle dungeon. However, he vowed to still follow her to the very end, even though he didn't know the whole truth. He loved her, and that's all that mattered to him. Not long before Jaina would conquer the whole continent, the demons which made a deal with her entered the mortal realm. Once Bane's sword took the life of his last foe, something that he would never have expected happened. Strange creatures approached him, accompanied by Jaina herself. The demons mocked him for his foolish and blind acts. That day in the dungeon, the soul that Jaina traded in for power was not her own. She was too cowardly and selfish to sacrifice her life for the greater good, and thus she offered the soul of her servant instead. Bane barely resisted clutching his chest due to the immense pain this act of treachery had caused him. He couldn't believe that Jaina could do something like that to him, after all those years of his unquestionable service. He felt nothing but blind rage, blind enough to wish to murder the woman he once loved. Bane's life got leached out of his body by the monstrous entities. He underwent a drastic metamorphosis. He was no longer human. Bane had become a demon of nightmares and despair. The great pain that was present during his transformation helped shape his new fiendish body. He could hear the voices of the hundreds of people that he killed, and could hear the thoughts of the creatures that did this to him. He laughed menacingly at their plan to betray Jaina and take her soul as well. Now, after what she did to him, Bane had the ability to consume her life. And he did just that. A dark vortex opened below her feet, and the souls of the ones she ordered Bane to slay dragged her into the abyss. cries and wails of these spirits were more than enough to suck out Jaina's life essence. But she didn't care. After realizing what she had done to Bane, the Queen felt like this was what she deserved. The last spark of life left in Jaina's body, Bane left for himself, to carry with him forever as a reminder of what horrors people can perform towards those that love them. Bane's transformation was now complete. He became a powerful demon and set out to torment the living for his own twisted amusement. Nightmares were following this infernal specter wherever it went. Its hunger for souls and havoc could never be sated. Bane had become death incarnate, consuming life and happiness, driven by the treachery of his best friend, Jaina.